All right, so this year delivers some absolute trash in terms of TV shows, as we mentioned, as we've just gone over. But I also think 2025 was a year of great TV. We also got some pretty good TV shows. So here we get into our picks for the best series that we watched in 2025. I guess I'll start.
Yeah, you start us off.
Yeah, one of my favorite TV shows this year is one that just recently wrapped its very first season, and it is Pluribus.
Cool. I thought you might say that, yeah.
Yeah, new Apple original from the creator of Breaking Bad and one of the creators of Better Call Saul, Vince Gilligan, starring Rhea Seehorn, great actress. And it's this very fun sci-fi premise that we've already kind of like seen before, and I was really curious to see what Vince Gilligan was gonna do with it. What we got was this very cozy show because it's not like, it's a very original and unique show in the sense that it has all the stylings of Breaking Bad and especially Better Call Saul, you know, like the way the story is delivered, these cold opens that start with details and then slowly reveal what actually has been happening. But the show itself, it's taking its sweet time. It's not very plot driven as it is character driven, and the central character of Pluribus is Rhea Seehorn's character named Carol, and she's a writer. She's a fantasy writer. In her mind, she's only writing very forgettable fan fiction slop, but she's very successful, very beloved, and she travels the country with her wife to advertise her new book. As this is happening, we see humanity getting in contact with this alien life form, is the way we should describe it, and basically this alien life form very quickly takes over humanity. It's like a hive mind type thing.
Okay, try not to tell me too many.
Oh, this is the premise.
Spoilers. Okay, yeah, cool. I 100% want to watch this as well. So
yeah, I'm really curious to know your opinion because I've heard some.
I've heard it's a slow burn, but people are really enjoying it still.
It's not even it's a slow burn. It's just slow because that's what the show is.
Yeah.
And I feel like, you know, it's not something that everyone was necessarily expecting. But I also know that Vince Gilligan excels in building up slowly over time. Breaking Bad, it really explodes from season 3 onwards. Better Call Saul, it's a pretty slow burn for the first few seasons, even though, you know, it's setting up all these characters and scenarios, and then it just becomes this unskippable, amazing, just a masterpiece of television. But Pluribus is different because we have this inciting incident, we have this kind of like hive mind taking over the planet, with the exception of Carol and a few other stragglers here and there who cannot be hive-minded. I don't know if that's an expression, but basically they cannot be assimilated into this hive mind. And so the hive mind starts to interact with Carol and these other characters. They are peaceful. They're not forcefully trying to take control of their bodies. If they don't want to, they are allowed to remain themselves, I guess. So Carol remains basically alone in a world that is controlled by this hive mind and has to deal with this. And we follow her as it slowly unravels, and there's all these other characters who react differently to the hive mind and what it means for the world to not be a human's world anymore. And it answers all these different questions about humanity and what it means and like what we do to this planet. It's just really interesting, and I'm really curious to see where it's going, but don't expect a wild ride of like, oh my god, what's gonna happen next. There's a few moments here and there where like the episode ends and you're like, oh my god, I need to watch the next one. But then it's not like the whole thing changes drastically. It's a very cozy, very well written. Like the dialogues are so just like it's like honey. I don't know, like I would listen to these characters talk about menial random bullshit for hours and I would be entertained.
Yeah.
So, you know, if this sounds like it's something that is for you, and I'm talking to you, Tyler, but also to the listeners, I think this is a very good show that is gonna get better as new seasons are released. Unfortunately, we don't know when the next season will be released because these TV shows take forever to make for some fucking reason. But yeah, it was fun. It was good. She's amazing in it, deservingly so. She won a Golden Globe, I think.
Right.
So yeah, it's a show to watch, in my opinion.
Yeah, this is like number one on my sort of watch list of shows that I need to catch up on for sure. It's Vince Gilligan's new show, so I feel like that alone is kind of a can't miss. in itself. And I'd never even bothered looking into what you just told me now is the most I've heard about the premise, and I wasn't even going to bother even looking into it. So I was like, hey, you've got so much goodwill that I'll go into this willingly. So, and yeah, I am excited to watch it. So I'm glad it's good.
Yeah.
But yeah, so my first mention, something that we've both seen, it was the very first thing we covered on this channel, actually, which was Severance Season 2.
All right.
And this feels like such a long time ago. It just doesn't feel like this came out last year. We had our problems with it, and there was some filler episodes, and to be honest, more so in Season 2, the cracks are like kind of beginning to show, and I'm very worried that this is another example of like mystery box storytelling that's kind of not going anywhere, or they don't know where it was going initially and they're trying to catch up. But there is still some like such great stuff in Severance Season 2. The characters are amazing in it. Like Irving, played by John Turturro, has become like one of my most beloved like characters in any show. Like you root for him so much, and like the revelations he has are really good.
Yeah.
And like the mystery surrounding his character, and like I said, his performance is amazing. And yeah, you get some like the show reaches some really good heights in Season 2, like that episode where they go on that Orc bow and they're out in the cold, and you get the revelation that Heliar was not actually Heliar and all that stuff, and Irving's there, and there's so many great sequences, and it's like Mr. Milchek is brilliant in so much of it. But yeah, there is I had a lot of problems with Season 2, but in terms of like some of the heights that it reached and some of the sequences, it was one of the best shows of last year for sure.
Yeah. Outside of some minor gripes that we mentioned in our reviews, and the fear, I guess, that the showrunners might not have the full picture of the show planned out, which is a fear that we keep going back to. Yeah, I really enjoyed Season 2. I am super curious to see what comes next. So yeah, some of the best TV of the last few years.
Yeah, it's the first time in such a long time where I was watching a show and I was like really into the theories around it. Like it's been ages since I've like an episode comes out and you can't wait to like watch another video or like do some reading into like what people are thinking, what your theories are, and just like theory crafting between each episode was just like so interesting in of itself. And yeah, it's been such a long time since like a show's made me do that.
Yeah. All right. Before I go into my top pick, which actually is two picks, because one we've already discussed, so I'm not gonna go into too much. So I wanted to talk about another show with you. But I wanted to quickly mention Rick and Morty.
Okay.
That also came out with a new season this year. Did you know that?
No, I had no idea. As a potential nomination for best series of last year, really.
It's not really a nomination. It's just kind of like before, like a honorable mention. Like just, it's interesting that this season came out in 2025. Nobody talked about it. I didn't see any advertisement for it. Not that many videos were made on the subject. And I honestly forgot that a new season was coming out. And I found out months later, and I just watched it recently because it came to Italian Netflix. It's strange how little people care about Rick and Morty.
Yeah, did they have a big break between seasons? Is that potentially why?
They keep churning them out once a year, like clockwork. Yeah. So I wanted to say, because the quality had dropped significantly from season 4, I guess.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Like, I'm just looking at how many seasons. There's 8 seasons. I am very far behind on that. I think I stopped watching season 4. No joke. Yeah.
Yeah. And some of the worst episodes are in season 4 and season 5. But honestly, each year a new season comes out and it's a little bit better, and I feel like this season was solid. I thought it was fun and inventive, and it had some of the best episodes I've seen from Rick and Morty in a while. Like, I'd say every season has, except maybe the first 3, has like 1 or 2 old-timer episodes, and then like 4 to 5 pretty good episodes, and then the rest is mostly trash. And I felt like the ratio here was a little bit more positive. And I guess this is a very personal opinion, like, it's based on what premise hooks you or doesn't hook you. But I felt like this season had like 3 very, very solid episodes, like top 20 Rick and Morty episodes. And then like a bunch of pretty entertaining ones, and like just one that really pissed me off that was like irremediably awful.
Yeah.
Where like Jerry turns into a fucking Easter bunny and wants to make everyone have sex to destroy the world. Discord, and it's just like so gross for some reason. But like the other episodes are really, really cool. And I'm just sad that Rick and Morty was used to be this huge thing, and now nobody really mentions it anymore. So I just wanted to shut it out because I felt like they're releasing quality TV. The characters are fun. They're reliably entertaining, is what I'm saying.
Yeah,
So
yeah. Well, that's good to hear that it's not completely dropped off a cliff because yeah, like some of the earlier, there's some episodes of Rick and Morty which are absolutely brilliant. Like they're so good. So yeah, I'm glad that it's not a complete shell of its former self.
yeah, no, I would say it's really not that. And I've heard good things generally. Like the few people who have watched this have made videos that were quite positive on this season. So.
Yeah, nice. This again, like you've kind of jogged my memory that this isn't going to be like a proper nomination, I guess, for like best series of 2025, but it's something which I thought deserved a bit of recognition because it's been going on for so long, and it seemed like it was done, and a few seasons they brought out were just not very good. But in the latest season 17 of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, there were some episodes in it which are so good, and it's back to like their former selves, and I think they'll kind of never like top the magic they had in some of the earlier seasons, but there was some episodes in the latest season which had me like howling out laughing. Like everyone was hitting their beats, and it's very hit and miss in terms of the episodes that came out, but I thought it deserved a mention because it is the longest running live action sitcom, I believe.
Yeah.
And for a show which like I said, really seemed like everything had changed about the kind of style of comedy that they wanted to do. They didn't want to be as offensive anymore. They didn't want to push the boundaries anymore. And it feels like, I don't know, maybe they got word of that and they just like went back on that and they just became like their horrible, like usual selves as the characters, which is what you want from Always Sunny. So
yeah, I need to catch up. I actually started a rewatch recently of Always Sunny because it was on Disney Plus, and I was like, okay, I don't like any of the stuff that is on Disney Plus. Let me just watch Always Sunny again. Because I stopped watching at some point. I don't remember which season exactly. So like I am on season 5 and having a blast, and really slowly getting to the newer seasons. So I'm glad to know that there's some gold at the end of the rainbow with this one. What's the deal with Rob Mack? Like he changed his name for some fucking reason. What's
real life?
Yeah,
did he?
Like I've heard. Yeah, like Rob McElhenney or whatever.
Yeah, Rob McElhenney.
Yeah, there you go. He changed his name to Rob Mack.
Oh right. Yeah, I've seen that. I have no idea. That's weird. But maybe just like as a like reverence to the character. Potentially he's changed his second name to Mac. I don't know. Yeah, it's such a good show. It's kind of crazy that it's going on for as long as it has, and it's like still putting out like good episodes and like things that still make you laugh. And yeah, like long may it rain because it's so funny.
Long may it rain indeed. I should probably get into my show of the year, which you already know what this is going to be. So maybe I'm going to throw you a curveball and we're going to talk about something else, because my show of the year was Andor.
Yeah, knew it.
And I know that's not a surprise, but I've already glazed this show multiple times on this channel, so I won't bore you again with how absolutely unskippable Andor is. And I hear that you've started watching it actually. So
I have. I think I'm like on the episode, like they're just about to go on the big heist in season 1.
Oh god, I get the chills just thinking about it.
And it's good, man. It's good. I like it. Like yeah,
it's only going to get better from here.
Good. That's I'm glad to hear it.
I'm just gonna say that.
Did you see recently? I think it must have been like recent comments because I saw it circulating not that long ago. Like Dave Filoni talking about how he doesn't like Andor. Have you seen that?
Yeah.
Which makes so much sense.
Yeah, and he's the new CEO, like
of like Lucasfilm, yeah.
Boss man of Lucasfilm, which is worrying because I would love to see more stuff like Andor.
No, you're gonna get Ahsoka.
Yeah, there you go. But yeah, Andor is just a masterpiece of our time, and something that anyone with even a passing interest in history or politics or sci-fi should watch. It's the best thing to come out of Star Wars. The quality of its writing is unmatched, but all that. Everyone knows that. This show was praised to no end. Everyone loves it. So let's talk about a show that we haven't talked about that for me is one of the best things I have seen this year, and that show is Adolescence.
Okay. This almost made it, I think, because it's had a very different impact and reaction in the UK than it has in Italy.
Yeah.
You know, this is something it was talked about in Parliament for like a long time, and people, they brought in the showrunner or the writer to discuss like violence against women, the like radicalization of young men in society in front of Parliament, and like, you know, our Prime Minister Keir Starmer mentioned it, and he's like, it's my favourite show. He even called it a documentary in Parliament, and you're like, bro, this isn't a documentary. But so this almost made it into my most overrated category of the year, but I felt a bit harsh, to be fair, to do it, because there is some decent stuff in there, and I thought the first episode was brilliant, and obviously Stephen Graham's amazing. We have a mutual friend who was the cinematographer, like the DOP on Adolescence as well, and he recently won like a Golden Globe or an Emmy for his work on it, and I think his work is what is the most praiseworthy thing about the show. The one-liners, the cinematography, all that stuff, I think elevates what is kind of a bit of a basic story. And I feel like after the first episode, it really drops off. And I don't think the performances are that good. I think there's a lot of cringy moments in it. And it kind of, at moments, it feels like a 50-year-old man writing what they think school kids would talk about, you know, and it feels a bit weird in that sense sometimes. But I didn't want to put it in most overrated, because I did enjoy some of it, and there was some like good things in it, and like I said, creatively it's very well done. So
yeah, that's the aspect that I loved about the most, was watching it and be like, oh my god, how did they do this? The camera is in the car with them, and then it's flying over the city and getting to another place, and I'm like, oh my god.
Yeah, that was very impressive. Yeah,
but yeah, I don't want to make it sound like this was just impressive from a technical standpoint, which it obviously is. I felt like, I don't know, like I only recently finally caught up, because, you know, the show came out, everyone talked about it for a little while, everyone was saying it was amazing, it was in my list, but then, you know, life happens, and I kept putting it back, and I finally watched it. And again, like I said before about Expedition 33, I was glad that I didn't get spoiled on what the show was about, because I was so glad when I realized it wasn't like really a whodunit, like it wasn't really like a mystery of what happened, but it was like,
that is what I loved about the end of the first episode. Like, it changes every perception you have of the show, and you're like, okay, well, like, where are we going from here then, if that's not, because that would typically be the main through line of the story, right? But they just completely blow that out of the water at the end of that first episode.
Yeah, they want to explain the why, they want to explore, you know, like the reason, and they want to explore this moment in society, and like talking about like real stuff that is happening in society that is really serious, and then they bring it back to a very human thing with the family. In the last episode, you spend an hour with them, with Stephen Graham, the father, and I don't know, man, I was brought to tears at the end with the scene in the kids' room. With like, I thought the acting was actually really good, and maybe, you know, like it's a language barrier thing when I maybe don't notice some of the cringer stuff that you mentioned. You know, like it all sounds really natural and real to me.
Yeah.
But of course, you know, like I don't speak English as my first language, so maybe that's one of the reasons why I didn't pick up on this. But honestly, I felt like the acting was so strong. The kid was so good in the third episode with the psychologist.
See,
that was crazy.
I didn't think he was very good in that scene, and I, like, you know, he's getting like so many plaudits, and I think he's fine, but I didn't, and maybe this is kind of, you do sacrifice a bit of this when you're doing everything in a one-er, pretty much.
Yeah, like there's a chase sequence in the second episode, and
oh
I'm like,
my god,
this chase sequence sucks,
terrible.
But you know, it's at the end of like an hour of them recording, so I guess they're gonna have to make it work.
Yeah, for sure. And I think, and I kind of felt the same in that scene. Like, you know, you only have so many times for the kid to like start that scene from the beginning and do his whole spiel at her, and it felt very theatrical. And whereas like the film's trying to be like gritty social realism, come. This is, grounded drama. And it felt like I was watching like a performance and a kid in a play. It felt very theatrical, that bit. And a lot of his stuff did. But I agree with you. The first episode was, I thought, brilliant. And the last episode was really good. And I think the bits which had Stephen Graham more like central focus were better, just because he's mind-blowing in the film. Like,
he is so good.
In the first episode, when he realizes what has happened, that scene is unreal. Like, he is and I've always loved Stephen Graham's work, and he deserves all the plaudits for sure for his performance 100%. But it didn't, like, I think the episode where it started to not sit right with me was when they go to the school, like the two police officers. And
by the way, one of the two police officers, the lady, she's in Andor too.
Yes, she is.
Just a little.
She's also in Game of Thrones.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, and like there's a kind of little subplot with Ashley Waters, who's the male cop, the male police officer, and he's like talking to his son, and his son's like talking about emojis and things, and that was like some of that bit I thought was like
kind of giving him the answer, like, oh, you're trying to figure out the motive while everyone in school knows because we are on Instagram and we know how to interpret emojis. Yeah, but like that's like a very smart, even though maybe like the execution is not that great, but like it's a very smart way to implement that social media aspect into the investigation, like in a unique way. Like the kids are ahead of the investigation because they know each other and they know the meaning of certain things. So like they pick up on the bullying that like, maybe someone just reading that thing would not pick up on. I agree with you, because then that's the last that we see of that character, of the detective. And so like I was expecting maybe more episodes. So when I realized that like it was wrapping up, I was a bit bummed, disappointed. And then I appreciated the show for not overstaying its welcome and just like analyzing these small moments in this situation and giving us this picture.
Not so much that aspect of it, because that's so legit. Like, I'm sure there's so many cases where, like, especially in like incidents that involve young people, where like social media is such a large aspect of that. It was just the dialogue and the conversation, some of the things they were saying, and there was like a reference of how all these kids are hooked on like Andrew Tate, and it's like, hey, maybe that is real. I hope that's not actually reality, and that is very like dramatized and heightened for the sake of the story. Yeah, I don't know. It just felt like this is like a middle-aged person's view on what teenagers are like today. And whereas it didn't have that like real like grounded element of like, oh no, this is actual the voice of people of this age. It just didn't feel like that for me.
Okay, fair enough. I guess some of the stuff in the school maybe was a bit...
Like, the kids are, like, savages at that school. Like, they follow that teacher around, and they're just, like, people are walking around and be like, fuck you, you bitch. And it's like...
And they're laughing about a person who died. Like,
I know. It's like... Yeah. I mean, I went...
Kids can be cruel,
They can be, but... I mean, I've never been to a school quite like that one, but I guess you dramatize it for the sake of the story. It's it's good. It's good, and I think it's well worth a watch. But like I said, over here it made like such a cultural impact, and people were talking about it, how like this is shining a light on toxic masculinity in young boys, and it's like, I think there's definitely a conversation to be had there, but like people were really like taking this as like almost like I said, people were calling it a documentary and like saying it was a documentary.
Yeah, when it's just a very well told story.
Yeah.
That is very immersive because of the way they decided to tell it. And it tackles something interesting that we all need to be mindful of, because it's really easy to fall into some fucking internet black hole of negativity, and especially for young kids. So, I think it's an important subject matter, and I thought they handled it with grace and care.
Yeah.
But I wasn't aware that, of course, it's a British show, so it's definitely going to have more of an impact over there. But it was talked about here too. People were talking about it in a very similar fashion, like it's a very important show. So yeah, it's a good one, and I recommend it. But some of the stuff that you said, I do agree with.
For sure. And like I said, I agree with a lot of your praise too. Before I go into my favorite, I'll just do two quick mentions because these aren't like narrative things I like. I was clutching at fucking straws here
Okay.
to come up with my best series. And I wanted to mention these because I don't know whether you've watched them. I think one of them probably is unavailable for you to watch because it's like a UK thing.
Okay.
But like there's something on Netflix and it was like, I'm pretty sure this is the third season they've done of it so far. I loved the two previous ones. This one was brilliant too. And it's called Physical Asia.
Physical Asia?
Physical Asia.
That is a very strange fucking title, but okay.
It's a game show, right? And
Okay.
it's the premise is basically like it's originally Korean. And like in the first
Right.
season, you had 100 Korean athletes, and they're like the top of the top, like Olympic gold medalists, like professional runners, and all this stuff. And they all compete to see who has the best physique.
Okay.
And they'll wrestle each other. They'll do these crazy challenges, like they might have to hang on a bar endlessly, and who can hang on to this bar, hanging over this like water.
Is it kind of like Takeshi's Castle?
A little bit, but like less like silly, I guess, and like more like, you know, they might even just do a challenge where like who can hold this massive fucking boulder over their head for the longest amount of time. And you have like, you know, everything from dancers and gymnasts to like steroid riddled bodybuilders up against each other, and it's just fucking brilliant. And especially when you watch it with the dub,
Okay.
like the voices they give them with the dub, like they try and match what the person looks like to this like American dub like voice actor, and it's fucking adds a layer of comedy to the show which I did not expect.
I do have it on my Netflix. I found it. So.
Oh yeah, no, this isn't the UK one. This was a Korean show on Netflix.
Okay.
So,
Yeah.
and then the latest season, which came out last year, Physical Asia. So the first one's called Physical 100, season 1 and 2. And then this one, they branched out, and it was like Mongolia versus Korea versus Japan versus Australia. They brought, 6 or 7 top athletes from each country, and they, in a team, battled it out to see who was the best. And they got like crazy people. They got like Manny Pacquiao, like a Filipino, like legendary boxer, to be on it. Like a UFC world champion was in it, Robert Whittaker. And it was just like, it's so interesting to see how the dynamics work out and like who has the best physical capabilities to win the show, basically. And I fucking loved it.
Nice.
But yeah, obviously no story there. And the other one was a very like UK centric show, which is a show which is like, I think it's on maybe its 3rd or 4th season now. And last year was the 3rd season because it's usually on in January, and it's a show called Traitors. I don't know if you've ever heard of this.
I don't think so.
If I had to describe it, it's kind of like Among Us. Do you know the game Among Us?
Of course. Oh, we have an Italian version of this.
Oh, do you? I knew you would. Like, it's fucking, it blew up. You know, they did the first season in the UK, and now every country has like their own version of it.
Yeah.
And, it'll be a bunch of like 20 odd strangers all get selected in a room. They're all working together, sort of, to, win money to put it into the pot and eventually, win, 250 grand or something. But 3 of them, or, however many, are selected at the beginning to be the traitors, and they will murder people and, like, sow the seeds of doubt between the groups, and hopefully not get voted out, and they get to, like, kill off one of the other players each night, and then everybody has to work out who is the traitors and who's not. And honestly, the drama, like, just, it's a very, like, social experimenty when you watch it, and just like pitting these people against each other, because you'll have somebody who's like, you're lying, you're a traitor, and as a viewer they're not, and you're watching this poor person like crying, defending themselves, like, no, I didn't do that. And a lot of the time they'll just go off like your personality. Like, if people don't like you, you'll just be like, yeah, that motherfucker's a traitor, get him out of here. And you're just like, no, this person's just a bit different to you. It's fascinating, honestly, as like in that element of the social side of it. It's cool. There's a lot of fucking fluff in it and a lot of bullshit, and sometimes you watch it on in the background, but when it's good, it is so entertaining, honestly.
Yeah, it sounds cool. I would rather check the British version than the Italian one, because the Italian version usually, I don't know, I don't really like those.
I mean,
Even
as we
those
know, from your review of The Monster of Florence, Italian stuff sucks.
all of it, just with no exception. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, maybe I'll check it out and see what the. But it sounds really cool. It's one of those, because I'm not really like a huge like reality show guy, but these kind of like social experiment kind of
Yeah,
thing sounds
it
more
it
interesting.
yeah, it really treads the line of being a reality show and a game show. And I don't really like reality TV either, but it's the game show element that I kind of like about it, and like the pinning people against each other and just like, yeah, the crazy situations that happen. It's really good. I'd recommend.
Yeah.
Yeah. So obviously, yeah, that was something good from last year, and it's been going on for a while. But my favorite thing of last year, and it's quite hard to pick, but Invincible season 3 was probably my favorite show of last year.
All right. Yes, please pitch this to me, because I stopped halfway through season 2 because I was not having a good time.
I
So
know, it really, that makes me really sad, Tommy.
Season 1 was good.
Yeah, it really ebbs and
Season 2 is just so, I don't know, man. I didn't feel any of the things that I liked about season 1 were in season 2. And
yeah.
I watched it right after. I don't know. Like, and then I was like, okay, I'm just gonna come back to it later. And I never did. Now you reminded me that this show exists. And if you're saying to me that Invincible season 3 is fucking amazing, I'm gonna plow through and I'm gonna watch it. So please.
Oh, well, I hope you're not disappointed, because I mean, there's, like I said, there's definitely, it has its ebbs and flows, it peaks and troughs in terms of quality.
Yeah.
And I think you're right. Season 2, they did that like mid-season finale, and they like stopped for ages, and then did like a second half of the season. And there's definitely a fair bit of filler in it, because it's a satire of like superhero cartoons or whatever, superhero stories.
Of course.
Some episodes are kind of a bit like villain of the week, and we'll like do this one singular thing and we'll kind of wrap it up, and like the prevailing like through line maybe doesn't move, and you're like, where the fuck is Omni-Man? Like, we haven't seen Omni-Man for like a whole season, and you're like desperate to see him. And then, you know, eventually that stuff all comes back into it, and by now they have so many characters in this show, it's crazy. And I think like season 3 really hits its stride again. They have like the last 2 or 3 episodes are just like all out action back to back. They adapt one of the most famous parts of the comic series in season 3, and it's the Invincible War, which kind of satirizes the multiverse.
Okay.
But they do it so damn well, and it's so like it's really good. And then as soon as this like crazy episode, which would be the season finale of like any other show,
Yeah.
it ends on this cliffhanger with this other like even worse like villain turning up at the end and being like, oh my god, like everything's like the world is almost destroyed, and then this next even greater like threat just arrives at the very end of that second like penultimate episode, and you're like, what the fuck?
Is this the Lee Pace voiced character?
Lee Pace? No, he's going to be in it next season 4. He is, and he does play like one of the best villains. But it's the guy who plays Negan. What's his name?
Oh, Jeffrey D. Morgan.
Yeah, Jeffrey D. Morgan. He voices this character. He's another like Viltrumite who comes down to Earth basically. And goddamn, like it's no like show or series I think has ever captured like what it would really be like if like Superman fought like another Superman in a major city, and like the amount of like destruction and shit that would cause, like they do in Invincible. Like they might punch each other as hard as they can, and like a sonic boom like completely eviscerates like a skyscraper or something, and just like moments like that. And you get some really like wrapping up of character storylines which have been going on since season 1, and again they do the same thing at the end of the season that they've done each time. They do this like kind of like 10-minute like tease of all the things that all the threads that are still ongoing and what to look forward to in season 4, and I think it just keeps going up from here. And yeah, I mean, you know that I absolutely love the show, so
yeah, I do. And I know that there's quality there, because season 1 was really fun. I don't know why season 2 didn't really gel with me. I didn't really get into it that much. But yeah, I've heard good things about season 3. I'll definitely give it another whirl in due time.
yeah, it's great. Probably, yeah, my favorite show of last year.
All right, let's move on.